as you get ready for retirement, I want you to be aware of the 5 biggest purchase regrets that recent retirees have so that you know about them and you're a little more cautious if you're thinking about buying any of these. And probably number 1 on the list, and it's not going to surprise you, is a timeshare. You know, timeshares are designed to be sold, not purchased, right? Nobody is saying, oh gee, I can't wait to buy a timeshare. Let me do a bunch of research and pick the best one. Most of us happen to be on vacation. They have a nice perk. Maybe we get to go see a show or go on a boat ride or free tickets to a theme park, something like that that lures us in, and then we get sold the timeshare. You've heard me talk in the past about being careful with depreciating assets, and few assets depreciate as quickly as a timeshare. I've probably talked to over 100 families that have purchased a timeshare sometime in their life. And you know what? With very rare exception, as far as my recent memory is, it's only one family. It happens to be my father-in-law that is glad that he bought a timeshare. But the rest of the other folks are wishing that they hadn't done that. I don't want that to happen to you. So just be thoughtful, understand that there's ongoing annual expenses, and oftentimes having a great vacation in a place once, you know, going to the same place 10 different times, 10 years in a row, wears off pretty quickly. So be careful on that one. Another one is a big retirement gift to yourself. And typically I see this maybe as jewelry or a nice car or an expensive camera. I see that one too. All of these things can be great things. Just be careful because, you know, to splurge early on things as opposed to experiences and adventures can be expensive and often leads to regret. Now, I very seldom see people regret when they've spent money on experiences or doing things with people that they love and care about. But I have seen people, you know, get his and her brand new cars right after they retire, or, you know, buy an expensive watch or an expensive bracelet. And you just want to be careful because, you know, this is your money designed to last for a lifetime. So pace yourself. I think the first year of retirement, it's really important to think through what your budget's going to be and to try to live on that budget to make sure your numbers are right. Because if your numbers are wrong and you need more money to live on, you want to know that sooner rather than later. Okay, another one kind of related to timeshare is buying a second home. You know, there was a time in this country where buying a second home made a lot of sense, right? Our choices when we went on vacation was either a timeshare or a hotel. Airbnb wasn't a thing 30 years ago, but now it is. And so if you want a bigger house that you can invite the family to, you know, the numbers might pencil out that buying a home has a chance of it being less expensive for you, but is it really going to fit the mission? If you have adult children, are your adult children and their kids going to want to continue to go to the same place every year on vacation? And there tends to be windows of opportunity. Maybe when the kids are younger, they're happy to do that. But as they get older, maybe they want to go somewhere else. So I have a friend that bought a house about 2 hours outside of Las Vegas and thought, you know, this is the perfect location. It's warm, they had a nice home there. But, you know, they quickly found out that as the kids got older and the adult kids had gone to visit mom and dad there a couple times, they're like, you know what? We'd rather be in Las Vegas. We'd rather be in San Diego. We'd rather be in Seattle. And if you have the flexibility of Airbnb, you can change that every year. Now, you're not going to benefit from the appreciation you might get if you buy a second home, but you know, there's no guarantee that a home's going to appreciate. They also depreciate. So you may dodge a bullet there. So that's another one to be careful on. Okay, the next one is big toys, big expensive toys. And by that I mean a boat, I mean potentially a recreational vehicle, an RV, or even an airplane. In a previous life, I was a pilot. Back when airplanes were about the same price as a car. So I have owned several airplanes. I've never owned a boat. I've never owned an RV. Full disclosure, my wife and I think we would like, when retirement comes, to spend some time in an RV, but I'm going to be highly inclined to rent as opposed to buy. But having been an airplane owner several times, I've owned 5 or 6 airplanes, usually owned them for a year or two and sold them. And I can tell you, at least for me, the 2 happiest months of owner of an aircraft, and these were like $20,000-$30,000 aircrafts. They weren't crazy expensive, but the 2 happiest months for me was the first month that I owned the airplane and the first month I did not own the airplane. I think we've all heard that, but there's a lot of responsibility that comes with owning a complicated piece of equipment like a boat, like an RV, or like an airplane. And for me, I was glad to no longer have that responsibility. Okay, the next thing I want you to be cautious on is potentially enabling a dependency with your adult children, right? There's a certain joy in being able to help your kids out, when they're buying their first home, maybe if they go back for their master's, helping to pay for the grandkids' college education. But there's a fine line, and you can cross it unknowingly and you can cross it quickly, between doing something to help out as a one-time thing and it becoming an expectation and maybe enabling adult children, I should say, enabling adult children to develop a dependency on you, and none of us want that. By the way, I'm here at a park. You can see behind me. Now, I am about 7,000 miles from home, but you can see you might be far from home, but you're never far from the comforts of home. Okay, let's keep going. So be careful with the enabling a dependency with an adult child. And then another thing is, be careful with speculative investments. Sometimes in retirement, and I'm somebody that encourages people to think about retiring sooner rather than later. And sometimes people wish they had a little bit more money in retirement. And you know what? That is perfectly normal. But trying to catch up by investing in a speculative investment is much more likely to do more harm rather than good. So I encourage you to be grateful for the decisions that you've made in the past, the sacrifices you've made in the past, that you are able to retire. In much of the world, the retirement account for people is spelled with 4 letters, KIDS, your adult kids. And in America, we try not to do that. So try not to keep up with the Joneses. Try not to compare yourself with others. And certainly don't try to catch up by doing a speculative investment like cryptocurrency, like investing in maybe a private company that a friend at church or a friend at the country club points out to you. If it sounds too good to be true, it likely is too good to be true. And on that, I want you to think about your investments in a very conservative way, but in a way that helps you reach your goals. And one way to do that is to watch this video here that talks about dividend investing. It can be a wonderful way to invest. I highly encourage you to watch that video next. Thanks for watching this one. Bye-bye.